a fight against corruption, or we are simply using criminal justice system to settle politics? That is the departure from an earlier announcement that we had made, that never again shall we use corruption cases to settle political scores. Welcome to the Bold Analysis. And if you're watching this channel for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video. Yes, so the shirt I'm putting on is, the jersey is a Senegalese jersey. You know, the final of the World Cup is just around the corner, and I stand with France. I don't know what's your team. I wanted to look at a very interesting development in Mount Kenya. Mwangi wa Iria, the former Murang'a governor, is asking Rigathi Gachagua that why are you using criminal justice system to manage Mount Kenya politics? And in a press briefing that he just issued today, the man, Mangi and Gagah, who is looking very angry, Usawa Party, is actually saying that he's not going to be muzzled using the criminal justice system. All this is about a corruption case of 542 million, where EACC has got orders, high court orders, for the properties, some of his properties to be freezed, and properties that is belonging, that are actually under his wife. So Mwangi wa Iria is simply saying something that Rigathi Gachagua, after making an ultimatum, after giving an ultimatum that Mount Kenya should troop behind William Ruto by the end of December, is feeling uncomfortable by the fact that the Usawa party leader may not be towing the line and is coming as a force to reckon with.
My neighbor, shida inatoka hapo. Na mimi naongea ukweli. Kwa sababu nafikiria tunang'ang'ania kingpin. Tunang'ang'ania hiyo, na mimi nitakuwa kingpin wa Mount Kenya. Lazima duki. Nilisikia juzi watu wanasema ati by that first atakuwa amekomesha kila mtu. Na hiyo ndio sababu hiyo kitu ilikuwa imepelekwa jana. Nilisikia ati by that first atakuwa amekomesha kila mtu, akamweka kwa basket. Mimi sitaweka kwa basket. Kama kuna basket, nakaa kwa basket ya William. Lakini si basket ya mwanaume hapa. Na ndio sababu hata hiyo mambo ya jana ililetwa Rais akiwa nje. Ati paka akitoka panya utawala. Panya ndiye alifanya hivyo. Mimi ni mtu ambaye amekaa kwa siasa. Ninaona hiyo kamjadala paka akienda panya akafanya kamtawala kitu akafanya hivyo. Ati kunichafulia jina. Ile mambo ya zamani ambao walikuwa wanalia wanafanywa, na hasa wale ambao walilia sana ndio wanaongoza kufanya hiyo mambo. Mimi nataka kuambia watu wasema
the heated debate, according to that clip, is that EACC is saying, remember, this case did not start today. And it started some time back. Even in January this year, there was a case against Mwangi wa Iria, again, even to seize, to freeze his accounts. And I listened to him, even though he might be taking politics to shield himself and take a political cover. I think the fight against corruption is on the limelight. And I once asked my good friend that, don't you think, my good friend Boni Halwale, don't you think that William Ruto do not have the arsenal to fight corruption? And he told me that corruption fights back. That was the response. But then my other question was, the phrase that we are targeted, or some cases are dropped because they were trumped up charges, is it one that can be abused? Yes, it can be abused. You know, we dropped all the charges, and even recently against charges that were leveled against senior politicians, ranging to billions, that someone trumped up charges in worth billions against individuals. The same thing we also saw with Waluke, even asking William Ruto, saying that Uhuru Kenyatta told him, mimi siwezi kukusaidia, to mean that Waluke wanted Uhuru Kenyatta to help him. And he was telling President Ruto that I have seen you dropping cases against others, you can also do it for me. And I can tell you that this is going to be a very interesting take to see, because who is going to ask questions on corruption in this matter? Apart from that, in that 22 minutes press briefing, he asked one thing I do mention, that GEMA have been worshipping William Ruto without asking the hard question. I know those people who follow the ball, I analyzed here that some politicians dropped the ball on what exactly they promised the people, but then only went there, have now reverted to just worshipping Mheshimiwa Rais, without really pushing for the interest of people. And that one, I mentioned GEMA. Listen to Mwangi Iria talking about it.
Hiyo nyingine ni ile mali nyingine asili yetu, kahawa. Mjadala wa kahawa, haki ya Mungu, umekufa. Wakati wa campaign tulikuwa tunaongea about minimum guaranteed price, haki ya Mungu. Kwani watu usahau namna gani? Saa hii hakuna mtu ambaye anafungua mdomo kuongea haki ya Mungu, mambo ya kahawa. Kwani tulikuwa tunapigania nini? Because our people cannot front that. If you front it, William Ruto, you do something, you push. Hizo miezi tatu sauti ya kahawa nimeisikia. Sauti ya maziwa tangu nitoka Murang'a ilikufa. Sauti ya majani chai imekufa. Sisi hizo vitu tukiangaziwa, watu wa Mount Kenya hawana chochote. Hiyo maji na hizi crop zetu, na sio mambo ya mdomo kusema, ni mambo ya kutenda. Bei ya kahawa tulikuwa tunainsist iwekwe shilingi 300 kwa kilo. Hakuna mjadala kama huo. Mambo ya maziwa niliacha 50 kama hapo 55. Sasa hivi kuanza kuongea mambo ya 70. Hiyo guaranteed minimum price, kwa sababu tuliongea hiyo ndio nataka iwekwe kwa sheria. Iwekwe kwa sheria kama vile tuliagana. Na mimi siwezi nyamaza, nilikuwa nasikiza na nikapiga makofi. Na kama ningesimama ningekuwa nafuata huo mtindo. Na ni mimi tu naweza kuambia Ruto hivi, Mheshimiwa Excellency, kwa sababu wale wengine wananyamaza. Mimi niko nje kama macho.
And guys, I can tell you that if you listen to that, I think Mwangi has mentioned that the discussion about land should be about the Del Monte, and it seems to be, he actually said that he wants to start a movement that shall push the interest of people, the people of Mount Kenya. And I can tell you, Rigathi Gachagua is very cornered, and he has to make a deliberate move to fight for the interest of GEMA, because what Mwangi Iria seems to have seen is just a vacuum mahali, because at the campaign trail there was a lot of debate on what is really needed to be done in terms of macadamia, maximum returns for the tea, minimum return for the tea, and all that. There was a lot of Mount Kenya activism. But when coming to power, that must go down. Naturally, it must go down, because you are not a deputy president of a region. You are the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. So that seems to have toned down. And Mwangi Iria would quickly seize that moment and run with it. That's why I'm saying that Rigathi Gachagua must really roll his sleeves and go back to ask the tough questions. You see, Gachagua campaigned against Uhuru Kenyatta on a victim card, that he was a victim of harassment. And now he's supposed to come out and defend the government, that the corruption fight, or rather the case against Mwangi Iria, is not politically instigated. And maybe you need to just make your own judgment. Mwangi Iria is saying that the cases are from investigation from 2013 to 2017. Is it 2013 to 2022? Almost 10 years. So some of those things that you're talking about are land cases that were like 10 years ago. And so that's why you can even think that, okay, into an longer file. Someone once told me that every politician, there is always a dirty file of every politician in either ECC or land commission or somewhere, or even in the DCI. So that when government wants to pull a trigger, it's very easy just to pull one trigger. And before you know, you'll be down. The biggest challenge that Rigathi is having is the exponential growth from a first-time member of parliament, from a civil servant, first-time member of parliament, and going directly to be the deputy president. And what he has to do, and what he is struggling to do, is to establish a niche in the political space, to establish his own network. In my next analysis, we're going to look at that deeply. And that is one thing that might complicate his Mount Kenya, his quest to be Mount Kenya kingpin. Listen to the former Nyeri Town MP. He mentioned about the need that Rigathi, for now, he is the senior most member of the community in government. But the challenge he has is that since he rose so fast, he may not be having contacts or the required network to establish a clout. Guys, in the light of what Mwangi area, the fight on Mwangi area, what are you seeing? And I think GEMA can best answer us this question. Do you think that the move to maybe this case is politically instigated? What's the clout? By the way, what's the clout of Mwangi? People of Muranga, what do you think is his clout of Mwangi area? Because the last I remember is when he wanted to vie for the president, and he then caused a commotion at IBC and was saying that some forces had really come up to make sure he doesn't get the nod to get to the ballot. Then after that, he then joined Raila Odinga as Mio campaign, and campaign for Raila, the last days of bit of that campaign. And of course, people went to the election. But he was also one man that at one point, I think, he was a bit seen as an independent person, and you'll not even understand whether he's supporting Ruto, or he's supporting Uhuru Kenyatta, or he's trying to establish a niche. But he's a man that has been really, his quest to be Mount Kenya kingpin has been very active. I remember when the current speaker, the current attorney general, who was our former speaker, Justin Muturi, went for some coronation event in Muranga, and he became so harsh against Muturi, saying that sasa hiyo ni huku kwamba the side of Muranga needed to get one of their own to be coronated as the next Mount Kenya kingpin. So around him, the discussion on who is to be Mount Kenya kingpin, I think, is still active, and he seems to be a potential candidate for that. I need to make very quick observations on this, especially on this fireworks between Rigathi Gachagua and Mwangi area. The GEMA coalition, the unity movement, or rather the unity plan, if it is going to be achieved by coercion, then I am afraid that Rigiji should see that it may never realize the goal that is set for it. The goal may never be realized, and even if that unity, it will be very shaky. Just learn from what has been a discussion on Azimio side, and a host of politicians were actually saying that, oh, there were cases, so anaogopa kuka, and many people who are even with William Ruto complained, saying that they had corruption cases, but they had to move back and go back to Uhuru Kenyatta because these cases could be active. And so there are those politicians that believe that they were coerced to support Raila Odinga. You can see that immediately the presidency did not come their way, or rather did not get the win, they ran away, and they are nowhere to be seen. So the game of coercion will not work. And if this could be a script, then if you force people to come together, if it's not that voluntary, they will just be coming together for convenience. But immediately they're in that house, the house will start becoming hot. And each one of them shall start pursuing interest. The reason being here is this. I think you need to pursue, make sure that all the interests converge. The reason why many people and why Raila has maintained his bit of a static political base, even back in the Luo nation, is because of the ideology of Raila Odinga. So that's what need to work. That the Mount Kenya unity should be an ideology. It should not be coming together simply to support William Ruto. On that, it may never achieve its goal. Mwangi is starting what can wrestle a cloud, and from what I see, there are a host of politicians that are not comfortable with Rigathi. They most likely can converge and around Mwangi area and become a point of then challenging Rigathi, even the next general election. Because some of them have nothing to lose, by the way. Some of them have nothing to lose. Kabogos are in the dark somewhere. If you look at Peter Munya, they're just somewhere. If you go the other side of Nyandarua, I think Nyandarua people seems to have joined. If you go the other side of Laikipia, you have Nderitu Muridi. They're just hanging somewhere. And with the voices like those of Mwangi Iria, it might create another center of power. And these people can come sprout. The GEMA kingpinship is controlled by William Ruto. It will most likely, that discussion may never end today. And if you listen to what Mwangi is saying, that mimi niko willing kukaa nyuma ya William Ruto, lakini si kukaa nyuma ya Gachagua. Look at that. So that thing, and many analysts and other people look at it as a divide and rule tactic. And if GEMA is not careful, this might be perpetuated, and it will even complicate what can be a succession race in that region. I don't know what's your take from the way the voice of Mwangi Iria. He seems to be crying out that President Uhuru Kenyatta was better. That's what he's saying. He's saying that, oh, Uhuru was better. We are really getting a very harsh treatment. I don't know what you think, guys. That is my take.